In celebration of Dinosaur Day, we are learning some fun facts about how scientists find and study dinosaurs.
We're also learning how museum exhibits are made. Joining us now with more is Field Museum exhibition developer Ben Miller. Ben, thanks so much for being here.
Very glad to be here. Thank you.
So I'm all about dinosaurs. I got all the boys in the house. So you were just saying in the commercial break, they discover how many new dinosaurs a year?
20, 25 at least. We're always finding new dinosaurs.
And mostly, where are the bones collected from?
Here in the United States, you have to go out west to places like South Dakota and Montana. But there's also all sorts of cool stuff coming out of Europe, South America, Asia, really all over the world.
Oh, wow. So they roam the entire globe. Amazing. All right, so the most I've ever known about dinosaurs is Dino from Flintstones. Okay, so I'm a complete novice. You have some bones up here first, but what is most cool is this is a real bone from a T-Rex.
Right, it's not a T-Rex, it's a relative of T-Rex.
Oh, okay.
Lived just a few million years earlier. But this is the front part of the jaw, and this is part of the Field Museum's collection. So the cool thing about the museum is that it's not only a place for exhibits, we also have over 1 million other artifacts that scientists are researching all the time, going back decades. So this was recovered, I think, in the 30s or 40s, and we're still learning new things from it.
I remember,
wow.
yeah, I remember being there maybe 4 or 5 years ago, where a new dinosaur had been discovered. I think it started with an M. I couldn't pronounce it, like scientists from all over the world were coming to look into this because it was such a big discovery.
Absolutely. We're always, scientists are always visiting, finding new ways to learn things from the old bones.
Very cool.
All right, so you set up the exhibits. So you have the job of making these animals look like they would if they were actually still roaming, right? So
Yeah.
how do you do that?
So part of what we like to do at the Field Museum is create these really immersive exhibits where we can really see what it was like to be in the world 66 million years ago. So you might have been to our new exhibit for Sue the T-Rex that opened in 2018. So what we did was we moved Sue upstairs into their own gallery. And in this space, the T-Rex is completely immersed in the sort of swampy environment that it lived in. You can see these animated scenes of what the dinosaurs that lived with Sue would have looked like and how they moved, as well as this sort of naturalistic soundscape to really put you in that world. So we want to show people not only the real fossils and how cool they are, but also help sort of spark imagination to see them come to life and sort of remember that.
How complete is Sue? And then what do you do when a dinosaur is not complete enough to make a whole skeleton?
Sue is about 90% complete.
Oh, she is. Wow. That's
So this is the most complete, best preserved Tyrannosaurus Rex ever found, which is really exciting. The parts that are filled in on Sue are usually things that are mirrored on both sides. So we're missing one of Sue's arms, so we just sort of take a mirror image of it and make a replica of the other side, for example.
That's really cool.
Well, what happened to the other arm? Did it just disintegrate?
It must have eroded out or
Okay.
was lost at some point in the last 66 million years.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know. See, that's interesting because if these managed to survive 66 years, I just wondered what happened to the other ones. But
Right.
again, remember, Dino here, so.
Dino.
Dino
It's a
here.
whole lot of time for something to get lost in.
Yeah, that's true. This is so true, but it's also a long time for someone to actually still be surviving. Tell us about these other artifacts that you brought.
Some of these other ones are those two ones over there. Those are casts of skulls of some of the earliest dinosaurs that ever lived. They're called Herrerasaurus and Eoraptor, so I'm sure your boys know about them.
Yep.
So they've come from South America. This one is actually a toe bone from a hadrosaur, so that's one of the animals the T-Rex would have eaten.
Ooh.
And then this is a cast of one of Sue's teeth.
Oh,
So
that is cool.
6 inches of big, pointy, banana-sized tooth.
Coming right
my
at you.
goodness.
So we're talking to, like, one of the most recent studies that you guys have been doing is whether or not dinosaurs were cold-blooded or warm-blooded. It's kind of a big breakthrough.
Yeah, this is something that people have suspected for a long time, that dinosaurs could move quickly and had a high metabolism and were warm-blooded. But some of the researchers at the Field Museum has found a new way to learn about that by looking at the sort of the remnants of the oxygen that they breathe in that are left on the bones. So if there's more sort of waste gas left on the bones, then you can tell that that is something that was breathing more and moving around more quickly. So some of these smaller meat-eating dinosaurs, definitely more warm-blooded, more high energy, and then some of these big sort of four-legged dinosaurs like a Stegosaurus, those are more on the lower metabolism end.
Okay.
Oh, that's so cool.
So How realistic is the movie Jurassic Park? I mean, are those true, factual information that you're finding out about the dinosaurs, or is it just a little Hollywood magic there?
I mean, it is a little Hollywood, but I would say overall they do a decent job. Like the T-Rex in that movie, it's the right size. They didn't blow it up like to Godzilla sizes. It's the right proportions. It moves as fast as a T-Rex would. There's plenty of things you can quibble about, little details, but I think just generally what a dinosaur looks like, that's a pretty good.
They've done a pretty good
I feel
job.
like when those movies came out too, your industry must have exploded in interest. I feel like there's just a group of people that were so fascinated that there's so much they didn't know that Hollywood was able to bring to people.
Absolutely. Definitely a big boom in dinosaur exhibits after Jurassic Park opened. Every exhibit we make now is sort of in the shadow of those movies.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to sort of match that experience, but
Sure.
also show people the real thing
Right.
and what these dinosaurs were really like.
Education.
All right.
Yeah.
All
for
right,
sure.
Ben. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us. This
Fascinating.
is really fascinating. The information for the Field Museum is right there. You know where it is. It's right there, Lakeshore Drive.
miss it.
Plop right there in the middle. All right.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks,
Ben.
Ben.
Thank you.